Hello, I'm Juliet, and today I'm joined by Jeremy Liu from GroupMap to introduce you to their powerful mind mapping and group decision-making software. What we'll cover today is GroupMap users, uses for synchronous engagement, event types that are common on their platform, and their price structure. Thank you for joining me today, Jeremy. Can you tell me a little bit about GroupMap to start us off?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity. So GroupMap is essentially a collaborative brainstorming tool. You're right, we started off as a mind map and then we ended up developing over 70 canvases and templates to support a whole range of group decision making and deliberation formats. Yeah, so that's a bit about us. We essentially are used for meetings and classrooms as well as workshops, and then certainly more recently moving from face-to-face meetings to remote teams and virtual events.
Excellent. Perfect. Well, let's dig in. Can you tell me a little bit more about their user base?
Yeah, sure. So in terms of our users, the main types of people that use GroupMap would be your typical workshop facilitators and educators, people that run virtual conferences and events. And I guess unlike a typical poll, like rather than just a standard poll, we have visual templates where people can brainstorm their ideas on. And then you can actually create a process flow that fits, that is fit for purpose. So I've got a slide here where you can design the activity, invite people in through a secure link, and we can capture their responses in real time. Examples of templates that we have are like the ones you see here. So it could be a chart, a canvas, a mind map, or a list.
Excellent. And so you mentioned this a little bit, but who is the user pool today that you see? Is there like a pretty even split between educators and practitioners?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know exactly the specific split in terms of percentages, but we know that we've got a few universities that use us for teaching and learning purposes, but a lot around corporates and governments for community consultation and I guess facilitated processes that need a little bit more structure, but still in a kind of simple and easy to use way.
Excellent. Can you tell me more about the types of projects that have been on GroupMap?
Sure. So let me go down this list here. So essentially, you can customize your process flow to talk about what kind of process you want your participants to go through. And then you have things like dot voting, rating, positioning, that gives you the data sets that might be needed for decision making. So you'll see here examples of how things are rated, and you might see the average rating, which is the orange bar, and then kind of the digital fingerprints of where everybody else has rated a particular idea. And that allows you to facilitate deep dive discussions around that level of alignment. So, and then obviously you want to get those reports out. So there's a downloadable version as well. In terms of examples of events, we've got a couple of case studies, if that's okay. So this is a more recent one with Isaka, which was a global IT virtual conference. They ran it with 3 time zones, about 500 people, and they used what was called the SOAR matrix and prioritized ideas from each of their global chapters using the How Now Wow matrix, and went from one brainstorming technique to another. Another example is a virtual executive retreat that was run by a Periscope Advisors. So they do strategic planning, and they had to go from a face-to-face face-to-face conference to a virtual one. So they created sort of big, hairy, audacious goals. They created mission statements, but then also planned strategy over the couple of days. And one that I personally worked on was around helping homeless, the homeless in New York. And it was a project that was designed to help bring new staff, increase existing staff capacity, and work with their leadership team around equity models throughout their system. So that was a way of them trying to humanize this experience when they couldn't all come together in a face-to-face meeting. And then 3 last quick examples.
Yes.
This is a training session here for Teach for Australia. So they were doing PD sessions and using it for case studies. So they would present a case, and then the students would put their feedback in, and then they would give feedback on those ideas. And then finally, a couple of workshops are just sort of smaller teams, because GroupMap can be used for kind of smaller team sizes. Not everything is a 600 people conference. Through to strategic planning, where you might talk about goal setting for the next 12 months.
Oh, excellent. Those examples really show how GroupMap is so diverse. It could be used, like you said, in the classroom, for small meetings with that concrete team, and even for like large conferences. I saw that it had like 475 members for that, like all live on GroupMap at once.
Yeah,
That's
right.
amazing. That's great. Excellent. And last thing I'll ask you today is, what is the price structure, and is there any additional services that GroupMap offers?
Sure. So our self-subscription offer is basically on our website. So there are a couple of free trial plans which people can get in there and try it out with 10 colleagues with all the features for 14 days. Then there's a basic plan that starts from 20 a month for one facilitator and 10 participants. And then you can kind of scale up from there. Then we have custom plans for events, conferences, enterprise, and education. And then in terms of additional services, we actually help with designing workshops, planning out templates for them, and helping people create the workflow for their intended outcomes. So we do co-facilitate, and we're kind of like the tech support, but with a few added benefits.
Oh, excellent. So there is this option. They could just sign up, facilitate on their own, but they also have the option to bring you on as either co-facilitators or to help design the event itself. Excellent. So there's options for everyone in case they need help designing it or they want to do it all on their own.
Exactly.
Great.
Exactly.
Well, that's all the questions I have for you today, and I really appreciate getting your time today to show me more about GroupMap, and I'm excited to have you during the showcase.
Thanks, Juliet. Lovely chat.
Thank you.